Hello humans, Master Dinnerflex here, bringing you the low-quality content you deserve, and today, I'm going to be discussing a card that I truly believe is not ban-worthy. Now, when we're looking at Fibrax, and all the cards that Fibrax has gotten banned, we're talking about Ding Long, even though that was banned beforehand. We're talking about Steam the Cloak, Olion, all these cards that are banned exclusively for the reason of Hulk in one way or another. And the truth is, we all know that if you ban Hulk, none of these cards outside of Lone Fire Blossom would ever actually be a problem. They are a problem exclusively tied to Hulk of Fibrax, including Ding Long. Ding Long we've known about in the OCG for a long time, how it still exists, and the truth is the only level of play it ever sees is specifically in like random Zephyr decks and weird Worm Synchro decks. It doesn't see play anywhere else, and it got me thinking, man, I wonder if this applies to another card people are not going to be prepared to hear. And after looking at it a long time, it does. Ib, the World Chalice Justiciar. Now, I know for a fact people clicked on this thumbnail because it's not a spoiler, it's in the thumbnail. I'm going to say it right now. This card, the moment Fibrax leaves the game, this card is not ban-worthy. The very instant it happens, it's not ban-worthy. And I would even go as far as to say it's probably even not ban-worthy right fucking now. It's not great. Now, this is weird, and I know why this is weird for all of us to think. And the truth is because when this card was legal, it enabled so many FTKs and so many one-card degen combos until you remember all of those combos. And I don't mean most, I mean all. All of those combos required Elpy and Argipane. Those cards are banned, and they're banned whether or not Ib existed or not. So the truth is, the cards that made this card way too powerful are all banned. So now we have to concern ourselves with what is left that Ib can abuse, and the truth is, the only one that's even slightly noticeable is Fibrax. And the reason I would even say it's only due to Fibrax is because of that Morphotronics tuner that enables every FTK ever existed. Like, if you take that out, no one cares. And that's interesting. And to be fair, I still don't even think that's a good enough reason right now. But I had to look around a lot and see, is this card really unban worthy? And I looked at every single card in the World Legacy archetype, all the ones they could access, all the World Chalice monsters you had access to in the entire game. And the truth is, if you make this Synchro, you don't get anywhere. You don't get anywhere alone unless you used a normal dragon for the Synchro summon, which is specifically like a handful of cards. And then you summon this with Ib. Basically, you get to make a Link 4. And that's it. That is as far as this card gets you. And in order to make that Link 4, you had to use a normal monster, which is a Garnet. You had to use World Legacy Guard Dragon, which is another Garnet. And then World Chalice Guard Dragon, which is another Garnet. And you have to, like, play Link Rebo in a deck that probably wouldn't have played it. So you have to play 3 Garnets to make a Link 4 when you have to make this card. And this is where it starts to, you begin to realize why this is so ridiculous. This card's playability was exclusively tied to the Guard Dragons, and that's not a mistake either. Like, lore-wise, that's kind of what it's made to do. Like, literally, her wings are a Guard Dragon's wings. Like, that is intentional. But when you actually think about it, this card's entire playability was exclusively tied to a card that was ban-worthy without her existence. And, like, even when you take into account Lib now exists, that could just basically double up on its effect, it just doesn't matter. Every single approach I've had to try to make this card playable in any way and try to find why this card is ban-worthy doesn't exist. There's no Mech Knight hand loop you have to concern yourself with. Mech Knights have an insanely difficult time even trying to make this, so much so it's a waste of your own time. Just every single situation you could think this card is good, it's not. It just isn't. The one deck I even found that could play it was unironically World Chalice and Agents, and the truth is, if you're playing this in Agents, I swear to you, you don't have to play a single one of these cards to end on an equally as powerful board as Judge the Seer could give you, because every situation you make this could have been anything else. That's the truth. And that's where this comes... That's where, like, this begins to show its ugly face, where we then realize Ib has been... The thing that made Ib ban-worthy is gone, and it was because of another ban-worthy card. So, of all the Fibrax targets that are, like, banned specifically because of a card, this is the one I did not expect at all. Because the truth is, I was under that insane impression, like, Ib, the only thing the Synchro ever did while it was legal is enable FTKs. That's all it ever did. But once you realize all of those FTKs were exclusively tied to the Guard Dragons, you then get to realize how not powerful this card is. And it's so interesting. I honestly think if Fibrax gets banned and this comes back, people will freak out until they try to play it and then realize, oh, this doesn't matter. We've seen the same thing happen again with Scapegoat, with Change of Heart, with, I don't know, a bunch of random cards coming back, and people were freaking out, and it didn't matter. Outside of Snow, that one mattered a lot. A lot of these cards just don't matter. I think a lot of the times the cards on the ban list, we, like, put them in a time vacuum and pretend they're good because the thing that made them good, like, a decade ago still matters when it doesn't. Like, Yada, Time Seal, those came back and no one cared. Like, they've literally seen zero play. Chains of Heart has only seen a handful of tops, which is crazy. It is one of the most powerful spell cards of all time, and it only sees a handful of tops, only because we're in a board breaker format. And the moment we go back to a hand trap format, or like a control format, that'll probably go away. Except maybe, probably still in a control format. But basically, now that I've shown you this, once you realize how very little this card can actually do, you can start applying this to many other banned cards. Like, I've made a video before on why Return from a Different Dimension is not ban-worthy. I've made a video... Actually, I don't remember if I made a video or not. But Tomias is not ban-worthy. That card is so bad. It's ridiculously bad. So many of these cards we think are too powerful just aren't. And I hope this one, the most extreme example I could find, gives you an idea of how, like, a lot of the time the ban list is, like, cards on the ban list are not actually that powerful. They're just not. And I think this is a perfect example of one. But yep, that's about it. Thank you all for watching. And remember, Master Dinner Flex will take your soul.